Can you believe my girlfriend called me lazy and kicked me out on my keister? So maybe I didn't have a job. And alright, maybe I didn't really want to work, but that doesn't make me lazy, does it? My name's Tim, I'm 25, and before I tell you more, go ahead and like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. So I was in between jobs, living with my girlfriend Maisie, and one day, she just flipped out on me and started calling me a sloth. It's hard being an entrepreneur, but Maisie said I hadn't actually invented anything, and the day I did, she'd think about taking me back. I found a cheap motel to shack up at. Not only was I lonely, I wanted to show Maisie that I was an inventor, that I could be successful and filthy rich with the right backing. I managed to talk a couple of investors into some startup capital for my company, but I was using it to live off of until I got the perfect idea. I knew I was on my way to something big, but Maisie thought I should just get a 9-to-5 like her. And don't get me wrong, Maisie's a hard worker, but you gotta have vision if you want to do something great. And it was that kind of thinking that landed me on the self-cleaning mirror. I got the idea brushing my teeth. I noticed these specks all over the bathroom mirror, and I figured there had to be a way to use steam or something to clean it so you didn't make streaks. Boom, $1 million idea before breakfast. I drew a couple of designs on a napkin and chased down a few of the fattest wallets and investors in town. But these guys kept calling me and my ideas premature. Premature? We should have had self-cleaning mirrors back in the Middle Ages, if you're asking me. Anywho, I was stuck with a great idea and no capital. Until I met this elderly lady at a car wash. She drove a super fly sports car, and I figured that a woman who could afford a ride like that knew how to make a buck. So I jumped into my pitch for the future of bathrooms. She said she wanted to hear all about it and suggested we talk over dinner. I tried to give her my best pitch, but she seemed distracted by all the drinks she was ordering. After dessert, she said I could have full investment, but she needed to know she could trust me. Then she grabbed me on the thigh and scared the bejesus out of me. I got out of there and went back to the drawing board. I read about this science inventors convention, and I thought I might be able to find somebody who would be interested in my state-of-the-art bathroom, which I was now thinking would include a self-drying shower. Think about it. What's the most difficult thing to clean? The shower, right? Why? Because showers get wet, and wet stuff gets mold. But what if your shower could blow dry itself? My pitch didn't go over well, and I ended up drowning my sorrows across the street at the bar, where I met this science guy who ended up pitching me. He called himself Dr. Garrett, and he claimed to have perfected human cloning and was going to open his lab services to the public. I didn't think that would be possible, but he said he just needed to do a few trial runs before he could get the permits. Man, I thought my bathroom was high-tech, but this was like super science for the future, and I even thought about investing, but I had questions. How do I even know this cloning mumbo-jumbo was legit? And just then, another one of those guys sat down on the other side of me. Which one's the clone, and which one's the original? The other guy asked me. So what? You guys could be a couple of twins trying to con me. But then, the other Dr. Garrett told me that they could prove it. They paid my tab and gave me their card. I think what I really wanted was for Maisie to take me back. But she wasn't picking up the phone these days. And the more I got to thinking about it, the more I thought a clone was a great idea. I wanted to learn more, so I went by the labs. That Dr. Garrett was there, and he was talking all about how we could change the world by turning cloning into a cottage industry. He imagined a clone in every household. Then he plucked a hair from my head and said I should come back in a week. He dared me not to be impressed. All right, I said. And boy, was he right. When I came back, I couldn't believe how perfect my clone was. It was like staring into a mirror. The doctor suggested I try him out. I didn't know what he meant at first. But when I brought the clone home, he didn't want to do anything except chores, so I let him. It was awesome. I played video games all day while my clone cleaned and ran errands. He even helped me with my invention. He did a ton of research on my self-cleaning bathroom. And then I had another chore for him. I took my clone with me and tracked down that Gretchen lady who grabbed my thigh. I told my clone that if he kept her company, she'd help us get started. I told him to be charming and to make sure she enjoys her dinner. My clone met up with Gretchen while I went back to my motel room to wait. Finally, now that I had a worker version of myself, I was able to get a handle on my life. The clone came back with the check, and the self-cleaning bathroom was on its way. After I got my patent, I found a way to bump into Maisie. I dropped the exciting news, and she told me that it seemed like I had gotten motivated. The next week, she agreed to lunch, and then she agreed to dinner, and then we were seeing each other regularly, and she was even warming up to the idea of me moving back in. But then she saw my clone out with Gretchen, and they were acting pretty cozy together. And she totally thought I was cheating on her, and left me this scathing voice message where she called me every name in the book. I was totally stuck. The only way for me to prove to her that I wasn't cheating on her was to introduce her to my clone. But then she would figure out my secret to laziness. I couldn't just say, "Hey, Maisie, that was my clone you saw." She had to see it with her own eyes. Well, Gretchen and my clone were setting up an expo at the tech convention, and I figured it was my best chance for Maisie to see that it wasn't me. I caught up with her after she got off work, and I gave her a ticket to the convention. I said I could prove that I wasn't cheating. I poured my heart out to her and told her that I loved her and that I needed her to trust me. She said she'd think about it, and it gave me hope. But when I was at the convention, Gretchen spotted me in the crowd and pulled me close to her. She said we should be ready and rehearsed. Well, just then, my clone came by, and Gretchen thought she was having trouble with her eyes. The clone explained that he was my helper. Then something strange happened when Gretchen asked him his name. He said he didn't have one, and repeated again that he was an agent of my will, a clone. Gretchen stared at me like I was some kind of supervillain. Then she explained to my clone that he could have any name he wanted. And he thought about it for a while, and then said, "I shall take the name Throckmorton." She told Throckmorton that he was entitled to his own life, and he didn't have to be my servant. He wasn't my servant. He was my clone, my friend. But they left before I could explain. I turned around and saw Maisie. "So that wasn't you at the restaurant?" she asked. I told her that was what I wanted to show her. But she was kinda looking at me like I was the same villain that Gretchen saw. "Let me get this straight," she said. "You pimped out your clone to do your work for you?" I tried to talk my way out of it, but even I knew I messed up. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Throckmorton totally stole my bathroom idea, and he and Gretchen went on to the top of the tech world. He was getting famous and doing all these interviews. Everybody thought the world of him, but the worst of me. He was the star, and I was the dud. Everywhere I would go, people would think I was Throckmorton. They would be so excited at first, but when I told them that I was the original, they were disappointed. I got a reputation as the laziest guy ever. There was no way I could get Maisie back with that kind of rep, and there was no way I could get rich quick or seduce any investors either. Change is really hard, but what choice did I have? I asked myself what I really wanted, and it was simple, to be by Maisie. And then I got another sneaky idea. I talked my way into a job in the mailroom at the same office that she worked, and I was going to work my way up to the top, and I would finally show Maisie that I was capable of hard work. Money doesn't grow on trees, and even though people told me that for years, I always ignored it. I figured there would always be a way to get quick cash. But I'm learning now that it takes hard work and dedication, and not everything in life is easy. What would you do with a clone? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.